Hi, everybody. I'm Marissa Frosch, and this is the Amphibian Press podcast. Today, I'm talking to children's book author Mary Elizabeth Jackson about her book, Perfectly Precious Poohlicious. Hi, Mary.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well today. How are you?
I'm doing well. We need a little sunshine here, but other than that, we're doing good.
Yeah, we had really windy weather last night, so trees were coming down, but today the sun is out, so
Well, that's always hopeful, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Where are you again?
I'm in New Hampshire,
Oh, okay. So you're
so
you're way up top.
yep.
Yes.
Yep, it's starting to get cold, had to turn the heat on.
Yeah. But it's cold here too. It was in the 40s this morning, which is cold for us. That's probably like bathing suit weather up there for y'all, maybe. I don't know.
In the spring, yes. In the fall, no.
Yeah. I've not been up there, but I hope to make a trip up there sometime. We've had monsoon rains for 2 days, so I'm really glad that and that had nothing to do with the hurricane. It just, I don't know, we had some flooding here yesterday and things like that. We had some roads closed, and so I'm kind of glad that things are semi back to normal, but we could use some sunshine.
Yeah, sunshine is nice.
Yeah,
Um, okay, so let's talk about your book. You did this with music. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Where the
sure,
inspiration came from?
sure, absolutely. The first children's book that I have is called Perfectly Precious Poohlicious, and it was inspired by my son during recovery from having him. He came very late in life. I was 45, so it was kind of a shocker, not a planned thing, obviously. And it was a blessing, but um, the whole story came after he survived what we weren't sure if he would, and we weren't sure if I would because I had to go back in the hospital after having him. But after all that was done, that's kind of where the story came from and that recovery time. And the word "poohlicious" is what I just would look at him and that's what I would hear. And I was like, oh, I really like that word because I do love Winnie the Pooh, and my girls had Pooh bedrooms and stuff. But to me, it means the embodiment of the sweetness and tenderness of childhood, babyhood, little toddlerhood, because they are so sweet and precious. Temper tantrums, not so much. All the rest of it is it's really very beautiful. Most of it is, and so I, interestingly enough, I sat on this book manuscript for 2 years because I really wasn't sure what to do with it and where to go and who to talk to. And I kept getting that nudging, you need to do something with this book. You need to do something with this book. So when I surrendered and I listened to that, I went to someone who I knew was academically published, thinking that he would know what to do. And now that I'm in there, I know that there are publishers for everything. And it doesn't mean that one genre can help with another genre. So anyways, he introduced me to Thornton Cline, who you know, and we sat down and he read the manuscript and he fell in love with it. And he said, listen, I would really like to write 10 songs for this book. And I was, wow, okay, I'm not going to say no to that, right? Because he's so talented. He's one of the busiest people I know. So he wrote the 10 songs, they're originals, and we recorded them in his studio at his house. And my girls actually recorded the songs, which is so sweet. So it's kind of a family thing, which has been really nice. And my girls have actually gone into the recording studio just recently, and we just did the video for the song. So we're getting it ready for iTunes and radio. So we're super excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah, very excited about that. So there are, yes, the 10 songs, and Thornton went and did the instrumentals on it as well. So there are 22 versions on the album itself. And then there's a narrator, and she's actually a local actress who is a friend of ours. But the songs are so beautiful. They're each about 30 seconds. They go right along with the story. He grasped the whole concept of it just perfectly. I remember crying when he brought them over to me and we listened, and I was like, oh my gosh, because it's very sweet and tender. It's not get up and jump and shake your booty music for little guys. It's more like, okay, let's calm down and color, and maybe it's time for nap or resting or even nursing for a mom with a little one. So the songs are really great for newborns all the way up to 5, 6 years old, depending on a child where they're at and their abilities, things like that. So this can be found, the book and the music can be found on Amazon or iTunes. The music can be found on iTunes or even CD Baby. Anywhere you can stream music, you can find the music. So,
That's really cool. So, What's the story about in the book?
Well, the first one, Perfectly Precious Poohlicious, is about how, as mommies, we think our babies are perfectly made, and that's kind of the story behind the story is that we think our children are perfectly made. We see the perfection, even if there's what the world might consider an imperfection. We see the perfection there, and grandmas and grandpas and family members do as well. Um, so that's pretty much what the story is about. I see them as empowering books for children because I have I am pages in both of the books. I am fun, I am curiosity, I am fabulous, I am wonderful. Because I really believe that I am statements are very important for us. They're very empowering, and that we should teach our children young. We should get them started on those empowering words. So when they're having a bad day, it kind of helps them to find that resiliency when they need it. And we can equip them with those tools even early on in their life, which is very important. You know, especially today, we've got all the technology and the social media that is kind of that double bang for getting into a kid's head with negativity. Not all of it is negative, but we do know that those are challenges for us as parents, aren't they?
Absolutely.
You know, and they're really great. Both books are great first readers for kids because the font is very large in there. It's large enough. The words are very simple and easy for a child to learn to read, or if they're in those reading stages, they could read it to their siblings as well.
Yeah, that's great. I actually started positive affirmations with my middle child recently because anytime that he gets in trouble, he has a really hard time reconciling those emotions, the guilt of getting in trouble.
Mm,
So we've been using positive affirmations to kind of help him get through that.
that's
So
wonderful.
I love that you have them in the book.
Yes, they're so wonderful, and that's a goal of mine is to, as I'm doing children's series, is to make them all empowering books. I have a middle grade reader that is at a publisher right now. They're considering the manuscript that Thornton and I wrote together. We co-wrote it, and it is an empowering book for kids ages 8 through 12. So it's about kids who did some bullying to a child who passed away, but they in the aftermath of looking back, they want to be able to forgive themselves and find forgiveness and then turn around and be role models for their friends. So that empowerment needs to be kind of started very young and go all the way through. So, our kids can stand up for themselves and they can be okay with standing up for themselves and saying, no, that's not right.
Hmm.
That's a hard thing for kids to do. We can teach it to them, but their execution sometimes is quite difficult because what do we do as parents and grandparents? Oh, be nice, don't be mean. That's not nice to say. And so, what I have found with my own children, because I have a freshman in high school and a freshman in college as well, is that they say to me, "Mom, I don't want to be mean," and I'm like, "Well, okay, telling somebody that you don't like what they just said to you is not being mean. That's standing up for yourself." So we have to keep reiterating that over and over and over again in their lives so that
Hmm.
they can feel comfortable, being able to stand up for themselves and not wait till they're an adult like you are and I am.
Hmm.
And then you just start putting up with people's stuff. So then you're like, no, you're not going to talk to me that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Um, what were we talking about before? And I was like, we have to start the interview.
Oh, yes. Kind of something my son had inspired me for. I do want to say that this second book, do you want me to hold the books up
Sure.
to see? Okay, so they can see what the cover looks like. So it came out February 2017, and in May, we had won the Gold Literary Maxi Award, which I was really excited about because I'm an advocate also for special needs and disabilities. And the award has a child in a wheelchair because it's a foundation to support children and families with kids with disabilities and illnesses. And the second one is Poohlicious Look at Me. And this one goes into toddlerhood. So it's kind of the cans and can't do's of toddlerhood. But there's also those empowering I am words in there as well for our little guys and girls. So I don't want everybody to think it's just books for boys, even though I think boys get kind of gypped. There's so much for girls, you know. I raised two girls, and there's like everything for girls, and there's not a lot for boys, it seems. But
That's true.
yeah. So, so my little guy who inspired this, he is in kindergarten. He just started kindergarten. So the other night we were telling bedtime stories, and he kind of gave me the beginning of the story, and then I worked my way through it. And it was an adventure in the classroom, and I went, "Oh, I love this! I'm like, this could be a book series." So I've already written the first one for that, and now need to get it illustrated so I can send it off. And I'm very excited about it because I love that enthusiasm that little kids have. And I could spend all day in that enthusiasm. The rest of the world can just, just shut the window on it. Because that enthusiasm, it just it helps you go, hey, everything's okay in life, and gives you a little chuckle, which I'm sure you having some males in your house, you get plenty of chuckles with the
Yeah.
conversations. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because I almost put a post out that said P and B. Let's see, P in my house it doesn't stand for princess. And B doesn't stand for Princess Belle. It's got boy words there. So they're very much into all the, all the boy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And,
yes.
and us girls are like, oh, really? Can you talk about like something nice?
Yep.
Instead of your bum, and dirty feet and smelly things and
Farts.
yeah, farts. Yeah, I didn't know. Yes, booty. Let's see. Booty is B word in my house, and poop is the P word. So those two words are like every day, and I'm like, dude, there's a bigger vocabulary out than that.
Oh, my sister got my 6-year-old a whoopee cushion for his birthday, and that was the gift of the party.
That was
That was the best.
not that like you need to just take everything else back and get your money back. Oh my gosh. I'd be like, thanks, sis. But you know what? It's the gift that keeps giving, right? Because it will last forever. It doesn't break, so it doesn't need batteries.
True story.
Yeah, you're good to go, right?
Exactly.
If you get woken up in the middle of the night, hey mom, no, okay. You gotta turn that one off, buddy.
Yeah, gotta sit down at my computer.
Oh, that's kind of fun, yeah. How are you supposed to be serious about work when
First
that
thing
happens?
in the morning, haven't even had my coffee yet.
You're like, dude, can I get a sip in? Can I just get a sip in? And they're just looking at you with that smile. They just think they're the funniest thing that ever hit the earth,
Yep, they do.
Parenting is crazy, isn't it?
It is. It's a wild ride.
It is not for the faint of heart.
No.
It is. It's not like any roller coaster ride you've ever been on, people. So. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
I know, now we gotta grow up. Do we have to grow up? Let's not grow up yet.
well, that's why we have kids, so we can stay young.
Mm-hmm.
So the third Poohlicious book, is that the classroom book? Is that the one, or is it different?
No, yeah, the classroom one I'm talking about will be adventures like in kindergarten. Yeah, so that'll be totally different. And I'm hoping to write about 10 of those. And would love to find somebody, who would be inspired and kind of grasp the whole concept of it and then just take those 10 and we can publish those. I know you can't publish 10 at one time, but as an author, and you're an author, you get so excited about your projects, you just want them out, you just want to get them out there. So already done, and let's get it out there, Hard to wait.
Yeah, as a publisher, it's also hard to wait. Like we had a couple books where we kind of got a little bit too excited and put them out, and then we had to take them back and perfect them.
Oh.
And that's kind of horrible. So if you can avoid that.
Yeah, that's not very good. That would be. I was at the Nashville, the Southern Festival of Books here in Nashville on Saturday because we have a huge festival here, and my publisher for these books, we had a tent, and one of the other authors goes, I've been looking through all these books, and it was some, I don't even know, it was from someone else another publisher, and there's like, she's an editor herself on the side, and she goes, look at all these mistakes. This is a tragedy. And I'm like, yeah, well,
It
you hate when you
happens.
see that slip through. And when you're reading something and you go, why didn't they just kind of space back one or two? You see those in books and
Yeah.
things. And that's kind of hard, isn't it? Because
It's
I'm not,
those little things are the hardest things to catch. So,
yeah.
like, our process is my business partner gets the book and does edits. I do structural edits if they need it. Um, so she does her thing, and then we send it out to a third party editor, and then I'm supposed to proofread it, but I read really slow.
Mhm.
So if I don't get the book soon enough, then I can't get through it.
Okay.
So that's a whole other thing where it's like we can't set a publishing date until the entire process is done and it's like ready to go. So that
And the
was something
process
we
is
learned.
right. And the process is long.
It is.
It's a very long process. I always tell people, whether I'm, at an event or a book signing or, Thornton and I have taught at several classes about writing to publishing, just giving that whole process of that information because it's not easy to maneuver through. And because I had somebody kind of come in and help me like Thornton did and teach me like he did, I really feel it's important to give back because I'm not the only person who's been in that position. I know that because and it probably happens to you if you go places and people know you're a publisher or an author. They say, oh, I have a book I really want to write. I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
You always have people who say that. So I always say writing is the easiest part of this entire thing. Not the editing, but the writing part is that
Mm-hmm.
all of that getting out and you're coming up with your story and, your
That's the
ideas
fun
and
part.
stuff. It's the fun part. And the rest of it is just like torture.
Yeah, the rest of it is work.
There's so much work. And then when you're the person doing all of your PR stuff, and you have some, depending on what kind of publisher you have, and depending on their budget, you get a smaller indie publisher, and they've got lots of authors and not huge budgets. You're still busting your booty getting stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Even if they
and
have a budget, you're still going to have to bust your booty because there's only so much marketing that somebody who isn't the author can do.
right.
So, yeah, I'm the head of marketing, and so I deal with that part, and it's like trying to get people to understand that readers don't want to hear some random person talk about somebody else's book. They want to hear the author talk about their book. So,
Right.
you know.
Right. Well, you can't go on the local TV or radio station for an author. The author needs to do it. But see, then where the things come in for the publisher is, say for instance, let's say for instance that you wanted your books with the Dolly Parton Literacy Library. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be published through a certain publishing house in New York, but you have to have a literary agent in order to get into that publishing house. So it's really kind of a catch-22, the way to maneuver through.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the acting world. So Tennessee, like Florida, is a non-union state, so it's a right-to-work state. So if you're in the union, if you're a SAG member, you can't do you can't do a lot of the work here because it's non-union. So, okay, do you get rid of your SAG card to do non-union work so that you can make more money? Because SAG, projects pay more than non-union projects. It's all kind of it's a kind of a double-edged sword, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the publishing world right now is really interesting because authors are getting more power in that with the indie movement and all of that. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you need to take your time and actually go through all the steps and learn why the publishing process takes so long and why traditional publishers do things the way that they do, because that way you can avoid the mistakes.
Oh yeah, very good. That's true. There's so much that I don't think you ever totally learn everything that you can learn, no matter where
No.
you are in the stage of it. There's always something to learn, and that really is fascinating to me. I love learning because it ups your game, and it's knowledge is power, and it's very helpful to be able to maneuver through writing, trying to find a pub. I mean, even the whole process of writing a pitch, writing a query letter, I mean, I've taken, like last year, I think I took a class. Writer's Digest, I think, is a great website, and they have a lot of podcasts, and they have classes that are really great, and they're very helpful. But it's still scary writing that pitch letter. It's still scary writing that query, because you're writing it going, please don't throw this away. Please don't throw this away. Please, you know what I mean? And there can just be worded the wrong way, and it's just may get thrown out. So it's like, do I take a chance and be very abrasive and very strong-willed in the wording, or do I, be a little bit more relaxed? And I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's hard to maneuver through that as well. And I don't know if anybody ever gets super good at it. I mean, Thornton obviously is good at it, because he's up to like 25 books now, and I think he's got 3 more coming out next year. And it's like, his kids are grown, so he has a lot of time to be able to put into writing, where, you have a challenge in your life with trying to maneuver through 3 children as I do. And so I know for myself, I always have my notebook on me. I have my audio recorder on my phone. And no matter where I am, even if I just have 20 minutes, I have learned to be efficient in writing and really take that time and go, okay, I've got 20 minutes. I got to make something happen here. I need to get this out on paper instead of up here, because, it does no good up in your head. And if you don't write it when it comes, it probably happens for you too, but if you don't write it when it comes, it never comes out the same way.
Yep. And last night, actually, I finally got to bed, because I told you I was up with my son until about midnight. Finally got to bed. I'm laying in bed, and I can't help running through stories as I'm trying to fall asleep. Sure. And I finally figured out, I've been trying to figure out this short story for an anthology for like a year. I finally figured it out, and I had to get up and write it.
Oh, and you were so tired. You're like,
I just want to go to bed. I'll remember it. No, you won't.
No, don't. Because it happens to me. It even happened to me at like the 4:00 this morning, and my little guy had woken up too. And I'm like, oh, dude, we got to get up so early. We got to go back to bed. And it was like, this whole thing came out like, okay, I'm going to do this post tomorrow. And now I'm not sure I remember any of it.
Oh, no.
I know. It's like, oh, okay. I know I was so tired, but I just thought for sure I ingrained it in my brain to remember. No.
Yeah, it's happened to me so many times, but with like plot knots or anything like that, I've gotten to the point where I absolutely write it down every time, because I won't remember it, and then I will be mad. And then you spend forever trying to remember it, because you're like, that was perfect. Like, I came up with this other thing that kind of works, but that was perfect.
I know, it's so sad. It's like, yeah, that sucks what that says. I like the other one better, but I can't seem to find those words again. I know. Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
All right. So let's get back to the interview, I guess. This has been great chatting with you.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
So you also do the Writer's Corner Live on Facebook. Let's talk about that, so that people who listen to this and like it can go check that out.
Yeah, and I would like to air this podcast on that Facebook page too.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So, okay, Writer's Corner Live TV show. You can find it on Facebook. That's the exact name of it. And then there's it for any authors on here. They can join that Facebook page, but also Writer's Corner Live author group. I think it's Writer's Corner Live TV show author group. So there they can go in and meet other authors. They can post things that they want. They can post their book, anything positive that they want to post in there about writing. I mean, any questions, somebody else may be able to pipe in and, answer that question for them. But the Writer's Corner Live TV show, we air every Tuesday. So we're going to be doing a show here in a little bit at 11 a.m. Central. So wherever you are in the country, look at your central time. So wherever 11 a.m. Central is, my co-host is actually in Cape Town, South Africa, and she does my website, and she is 7 hours ahead of me. So I think South Africa is 7 hours ahead. England is 6. I think Australia is 13 hours ahead. You are on Eastern time, right?
Yeah, so I'm just 1 hour ahead.
You're an hour ahead, yes. Okay, so and the show has been running, I think today is our 17th or 16th show. And today we're going to have Mark Wayne Adams on. You can look him up on Facebook. He is a children's author, but he's also an illustrator. And he's he's a pistol. He is just a fireball. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. I think he's got 30 books out. He does all his own illustrations. He's got kids. He's just so high energy. He does a lot of speaking. He's on a book tour right now. So really awesome guy. I'm excited to interview him today. And so the intention behind the show 17 weeks ago was to get authors on and be able to expose their books and their backstories to people who might not see them. So after the show is done, and then, because you can come watch the show live, but then the replay is out, obviously. And then everyone shares that on their social media, which allows people to find authors who might not find them. If I'm in a group with just children's authors, they may, somebody I post and they're like, oh, hey, there's a new book for mom, or aunt or dad or somebody. Mm-hmm. I ask all the authors to give some advice, their journey. We had an author on a couple weeks ago, and she had been with a literary agent several times, and she talked all about the ins and outs of that. She had been a self-published author. Now she's with a traditional indie author, or she's with an indie author now. So it was kind of interesting for her to share that for people who, it's just more information for those who are out there seeking to be published, or wanting to ask questions about that. So she gave a lot of really good information. And so we're also, I've got another illustrator coming on soon. I have 2 publishers that are going to be on soon. One of them, I'm so excited. And I'm going to actually be interviewing my publisher, which I'm really excited because, those of us out there, it's like publishers are hidden somewhere. You don't see their faces very often. So I think it's super exciting to be able to actually see the people behind what's going on with all of this, because books are so important in the world and they mean so much to so many people. And literacy is so important. So the show has really taken off where I've got authors coming out of the woodwork messaging me, hey, can I get on? When can I get on? And we're keeping it clean. I mean, there's certain genres that I'm staying away from, not to be mean or anything, but we are trying to keep it kind of family friendly. Mm-hmm. And that I'm a children's author at this point, even though I have other things, I'm writing a novel. I just want to, we're going to keep it a little clean right now. So, but it's so funny. I had somebody on recently, before the show even started, she goes, so no F-bombs, right? I said, yeah, no F-bombs.
Please.
The next 30 minutes, you've got to keep it clean, okay? Because if my kids run across this, and no, anyways, so I'm like, I know everybody's, people are tempted. We're tempted to say those words sometimes when we get so frustrated and excited. But yeah, so I'm excited about the show. It's doing really well. And we're hoping for it to grow. I just want to see it. I just want it to keep growing.
That's awesome. I love all the stuff like that. Because, sorry, I was getting a weird echo. I love all the stuff like that because I think a lot of authors get stuck in this trap of authors against authors when really there's no way that one author can write enough books for even one reader to be satisfied. So let's share the love.
Absolutely. And I think it's awesome because, I'm writing this, but say, for instance, okay, I met a fellow BRW author on Saturday, and I met 3 that I had not met before. Great people, all of them. And Cheryl writes about ghost stories and like true ghost stories. I'm like thinking, I know people who would love to read her book. And my mom loves it because I'll send her the cover and I'll send her the link. And so she's getting new books to read all the time and she's loving it. And the other thing the show's done that's been really awesome is a couple of authors, it's been time for them to launch. So the show has helped launch their book career or the starting of it. And they'll message me back and go, oh my gosh, thank you. And that just makes me so happy because this is not an easy world to maneuver through. Yeah. And we all pray that our books will sell millions or reach millions of people, especially if, I know for me, mine is, this is not a book like all over the world people would read. You're not going to have high schoolers reading this unless maybe they're working with children in a daycare, but to at least reach families and settings where children are, to help give them something that's positive, empowering. There's sweetness behind it. There's kindness. There's a good story that's behind it in the first place. And I really believe in it. Otherwise, I'm not one of those that could sell ice to an Alaskan person. I need to believe in what I'm doing. So, and I really feel that it's important to support each other. I'm about positive movement. I think we need to have a movement in schools, teaching inspiration to children, as opposed to the anti-bullying program is fantastic, but I still have kids say to me, because I'm an advocate for special needs and disabilities. So I in the schools sometimes helping people maneuver through IEPs and questions they have. And I mean, I've had to do it for two of my children. So, but you hear kids go, well, what do I do if somebody really bullies me? Well, okay, that's a good question, because they're being taught. But like we said earlier, the execution is not always easy for children. So inspiration and motivation and positivity is so infectious. So if we could do more of that, I think, it's not going to hurt anything. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I was a kid, I was usually the one telling people not to bully other people. Bullying really wasn't a problem for our class for whatever reason. We all got along pretty well. But if something did happen, I was always that kid. And I'm trying to get my kids to be that kid because bullying is a serious issue in the school my kids are in right now. My youngest son, this is his first year in kindergarten, and he's already had 2 incidents of bullying, and he's been in for like 2 months.
Yeah, like not long enough for this to be happening. I'm so sorry. That's, it's really scary as a parent, because you're also, it also makes us stop and go as parents, how do I handle this situation? What's appropriate here? Because instead of like, I don't know if did you see the video the other day that was on the news, in the bowling alley, somebody was hitting somebody with a bowling ball. It was a fight that broke out. It was on the national news. Jeez. I don't watch the news very often.
Yeah, I don't.
I was like, okay, that's not the best way to solve a problem,
Yeah.
And as parents, when our child has been bullied or hurt, we want to go and react to the situation. So, and you want the school to stand behind you too.
Well, like in our school, the issue is the kids are picking on kindergartners, and instead of teaching the kids that's not acceptable, these kids are smaller than you, they're weaker than you, like this is not how we behave. Instead, they moved the kindergartners away from the other kids, so now instead of having recess with the bigger kids, they have recess with the preschoolers. So technically protecting the kids, but you're not teaching the bigger kids that their behavior is inappropriate. All right, so for those of you watching the YouTube video, you'll notice that we're wearing different clothes, and that kind of ended abruptly. My power went out. So we're back the next day, and we're going to pick up kind of where we left off. We were talking about bullying in schools when it went off.
Is that what we were talking about? I wondered where we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about bullying in schools. Hold on one second. My computer is on Do Not Disturb, but it's dinging.
I'm going to change my little ear thingies.
There we go.
I'm in the wrong ear.
There we go. Okay. Now that that's done. Okay, so why don't we do like a little recap of just the Poohlicious books, and then we can talk about the kindergarten kind of books that you were talking about.
Oh, okay.
And that way we'll just kind of have a good recap at the end here, and hopefully it'll get our conversation going again.
Okay, do you want me to show the books again?
No, I don't think we need to.
Okay, that's fine. I was just going to say I was going to grab them if you wanted me to, but that's fine. Okay, so to recap from yesterday, I didn't even say this yesterday, but I'm a wife and a mom of 3 kids. And so I had a very late in life pregnancy. I'm 45. I was 46 when I had my son. So just not a planned thing, but he has been the inspiration for the children's series that I've written. And the first one is Perfectly Precious, Poohlicious. And it won the Gold Maxi Literary Award a couple months after it was out. And then the second book that came out about 6-8 months later is Poohlicious, Look at Me. The third one will be out this next year. The first one is really great for little ones up till about the age of 4. It has sheet music in the back with 10 original songs that were written for the book itself, with the CD. And that CD can be purchased on Amazon or CD Baby, iTunes, wherever you can stream music. And the second book is really great for toddler age, about all the cans and can't do's of toddlers. And the third one is going to be kind of going into the kindergarten age and all the quirkiness that kids have and trying to make it be okay for them, different size ears, funky eyebrows, spaces in their teeth, they wear their clothes inside out, got their shoes on the wrong feet, that kind of thing. Somebody has crazy hair, no matter what mom does, they can't get it to calm down, so it's kind of along those lines. My goal is to write very empowering books for children, and support literacy, because I know how important it's been in the life of my own children and their love of reading, which encompasses our whole life. So, if you can't read, it really does interfere with life. So I love the books. I love what they stand for. They're also really great first readers because they have big font in them. They have I am pages in there. I believe that I am statements are very powerful for children, adults, and whoever else, all of us actually. It doesn't matter the age. It's still very important to work on that positivity and to start kids young is very important. And yeah, we were talking about bullying in school, and what about turning things in a different direction and focus on inspiration and motivating, teaching kids how to do that with each other, because, when you're adults, if you are not really privy to that kind of thing in your life, lots of offices and jobs, they do all the cheering and motivating and inspiring one another and learning how to be team members, because we're not really meant to do things on our own. So we do need to learn to work towards supporting one another. It's very important. I think it's like, did you say this yesterday, that no one author can write enough books for everybody out there? So it's great for authors, and then any kind of field that people work in, to support each other, of course. So then I've started a kindergarten series, and it's going to be either kindergarten superheroes or adventures or something, and I've got several of those written with the intention of doing about 10 of them. And my little guy's in kindergarten, so there's tons of material for that. He just kind of walks around and he repeats everything that he does in class, which is really cute because at least he's learning. And your guy probably does that too. Mm-hmm. It's really sweet. And then I go in once a week and I work with some of the special needs kids at his school. So I get to be around it, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Letterland characters. That's how he learned his letters. Very fun. I homeschooled last year, so for his preschool I homeschooled, and I couldn't figure out how to get him to understand letters. And that was something that I really struggled with. My oldest son picked it up before he even went to school. Right. So I couldn't figure it out, and he knew some of them, but he really didn't get it. And for whatever reason, this Letterland thing, he's got it down. This morning he was sitting at my computer sounding out words, and spelling. So I was like, yes, Thank
I
you,
know.
Letterland. Whoever
Yeah,
created
right.
Letterland, thank you.
Yeah, I love Letterland, and I also like Leapfrog. Leapfrog was really
Yes.
good with all three of my kids.
Yeah.
They loved it, and there's just those things that click. And Letterland, anything that's got music seems to allow children to learn easier. There's something about it in the brain, and I know research with stroke victims, they use singing to override those deficits in the brain after having a stroke. They can still teach people to talk, through singing, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't realize that for people who had a stroke.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. My dad is, he is gotten where he's not talking anymore. He's got some dementia and some other things. So yeah, I kind of learned that through research for looking through all that he's going through. But it's so fun when it clicks for them. My second child was nonverbal. So I thought, how am I going to teach her ABCs? There's just I have no idea. So we sang it, and that's how she learned her ABCs, but she didn't learn them like A, B, C, D. Like, when we go with our kids someplace, they'll see something and they want to spell it out.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't. She sang it or she sounded it out. Like, fa, 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 ah, 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 that's what she did, but it allowed her to learn the alphabet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting.
You got to find what works for what kids.
Absolutely. They're all different.
Yeah. So, and then you also have your TV, your Facebook TV show for authors.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk about that. I just looked it up and liked the page, and I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. It's Writers Corner Live TV show. It's on Facebook. So, go like that page, join it. All the interviews are listed there, or, you can find the interviews of past authors there. Yesterday, we had a great interview with Mark Wayne Adams, and he is with, he had his own publishing company, but he is an author and he illustrates all his own books. He has 60 books published. He's won lots of awards. He's with Southern Yellow Pine Press out of Tallahassee, Florida. Mm-hmm. And he's on a book tour right now and does a lot of speaking engagements. He's in a lot of schools with a lot of teachers and things. And he's just like a very energetic guy. He had lots of tips yesterday for people who are already published, people who want to be published, people who want to do speaking and engagements, things like that. So publishing information, because he's been a publisher before. So he figured out that if he published other people, he couldn't get his own stuff done. So he walked away from that. Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm struggling with the balance.
Yeah, it's hard. You guys should meet sometime, just even online, or I don't know, however, even through iMessage, because you guys probably would have a lot in common to talk about. And he's just a super nice person.
Yeah, I've actually talked to 2 other authors that are published through that company.
Okay.
So
yeah, well, Thornton Cline he just got published with them. And I think Terry Garrell is the publisher for the company. I think she just published Diane Sawyer, a book that Diane Sawyer wrote. I think so. I don't. Yeah, I'm not positive, but I think so.
I'm supposed to email her. Actually, I'm glad that you mentioned her because I forgot. I'm supposed to email her, and she was gonna hopefully talk to me about some businessy stuff. So.
Oh, good. Well, she'll be a good person to talk to. Yeah, there you go. I'm glad we're sparking those memories this morning.
Seriously,
right?
Because it's
yeah.
I've been like so tired for the past month. I'm like,
sorry.
it's only so long, and then the baby will be bigger, and
I know
it will happen again.
Yeah, right. You'll catch up, and then but then you just kind of get used to the zombie stage of your life, and you learn how to function through. It's amazing what we can function through in our lives as moms, and actually go, wow, I just dropped the kids off. I don't remember doing that. How did I get there?
Yeah.
Did I drive? Did somebody else drive? I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta love that moment in the car when you're like closer to home than you thought you were, and you're like, wait a minute. What happened to that road?
It's like you left your body.
Yeah, you just went on vacation.
Hopefully it was a good one. Cheap and good, right?
mental vacation. It's the
Yeah,
cheapest
mental
one you can
vacation.
take.
So for any authors out there, or publishers or illustrators, whatever, we've got the Writers Corner Live TV show author group. So, go and join that. And then other authors are there, and you can post your books and things going on with you there. And there'll be information that, we just post stuff there and everything. But and if somebody would like to be interviewed, just, they need to, PM me. So, or leave a message there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll share that with my writing groups too.
Okay, wonderful.
So they can. All right. So what are you doing in the future? You have these children's books that you're doing. Are you thinking about doing any other books, like any other genres?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm working on, well, I've got a middle grade reader waiting to hear back from a publisher on that. And that is ages 8 to 12. And then I've got a couple ideas for some YA books based off real life things, but turning them into, into fiction. So, but not sure how I'm going to write it yet. But I've got a true story book that I'm going to write about my life and the life of my daughter who was abused in school 10 years ago when she was little.
Oh.
And what we went through with that, and it's kind of what led me to be an advocate. So it ties in all of that, and being a more aware parent and things to look out for, and your rights of law, things like that. These are not things as parents we want to think about or even have to deal with, but it does happen. And so being prepared and aware is going to just make you, it just gears you up better as a parent, because it can happen in a public school system, which is what happened with my daughter. So it was probably, I would say, hands down, one of the worst experiences in my lifetime that we went through. And she's 15 now, and there's still leftover that we deal with mentally, emotionally from it, which is so, the only way I know how to get through something like that is to get through it, and move forward. And you have to be resilient. You have to find your way and your piece to get through it somehow. But I have been working with state legislators and senators over the years here, trying to get things changed in the school systems, to better the environment, relationship between parent and child and school system, classroom for the children, because it's very important that, safety is very important for our kids, and just those relationships, because maneuvering through with a special education child is not always very easy. Mm-hmm. And most people are like, what do I do? And I used to be there. What do I do? My child needs testing, and now we have this testing done, and now what do we do? How do we get them services? And so it's difficult, but I want to write the rest of my life, and so I have a whole list. I've made a list of all the things I want to write, and then we'll see what pops up in between all there. So, there's the true story for that and that journey, and then some kind of, I don't want to call it self-help because people go, bleh, but it's kind of like, the whole parenting thing, and the whole, trying to get that, a movement of awareness, because we do have to parent differently than our parents parented us.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that, and just, maybe a couple fantasy things. We'll see what I throw in there. It's whatever comes. I always have my phone with me for audio recording and my notebook. I have poetry that I'd like to get published someday. So I've been doing that for a long time, and, poetry for mommies with little ones, and then just regular inspirational type poetry. So a lot of metaphors in nature that really inspire me to write. So nice. And then I've taken the middle grade reader and started writing it into a screenplay for film. So
that's quite an undertaking, huh?
Yeah, I would have to say it's not fun at all.
People either love it or they hate it.
Oh,
there's no in between.
It's torture. I just say it's torture, because you have to take this manuscript that you've written, and then it's just, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. takes a very, 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 very long time to do it.
It's
Everything,
challenging.
it's very challenging. Even with the great program we have on the computer, it's very challenging. So, I was working very hard on it, and I've just kind of put it to the side for a little bit.
That's fine. You got to do what you got to do. Stay sane.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm going to throw this thing across the room,
Yeah. About the point where I'm ready to throw my computer across the room is when I move on to a different project for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. In the interview yesterday with Mark Wayne, he gave a really great tip. So on the outside of his computer, he has his name written with his website, and he has written author illustrator on the back. He's got that on the back of his computer, and he's always writing in public. So he's always got people asking him questions. So I thought, that's a very smart idea.
Yeah.
Advertising, it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, because I'm in public a lot too. Just add publisher to that. And
that may be a little bit tricky though. You may have people flock to you with ideas. You go,
make it something that you can take off.
Depending on where you are. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
So if you want to talk to people, put it on. And if you don't, take it off.
Yeah, there you go. You could put author on there because you are an author.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You could do that.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. So is there anything else that you wanted to cover?
I don't know. I think we've covered just about everything, haven't we?
I think so.
Yeah.
So where can people find you online?
So I'm at maryejackson.com is the website. On Facebook, I am at Perfectly Precious Poohlicious Facebook page, but also at maryejackson.author on Facebook. Instagram, it's maryjackson444. And then Twitter, it is Mary_E_Jackson on Twitter. So, and then I'm going to be working, getting Pinterest going, and you can go to Amazon and Kindle to find my books, blackrosewriting.com, walmart.com, barnesandnobleonline.com. I'm on BookBub and Goodreads as well.
Nice.
And some store in South Africa, I don't even know the name of it. So it's an online store, and I think it's like very expensive actually. Their prices are much different than here. So yeah. So that's where you can find me and find my books, and come watch the show. If you want to be on, let me know. It's really awesome. Marissa's going to be on in November. I'm excited.
Me too.
Yes, we're going to have a band in the background. No, I'm kidding.
Nice.
Yeah. We won't have any falling trees, but I don't know. We may,
well, it's November. I might have a snowstorm.
Yes, you might. You might be sitting in the middle of a blizzard. So
hopefully not. Although it does make it really quiet.
It's beautiful when it snows.
I love the snow. It's like everybody up here, they hate it. And I'm like, you have to love it because it's like 6 months out of the year that it snows. So just decide to love it and you'll enjoy your life a lot more.
This is very true. Very wise.
I used to be like that. I used to hate snow, but it's like now I'm like, whatever. I'm so happy it's snowing. We can go outside and play in the snow.
Yeah, you have to suck it up and take it. I need to come up there with my kids so they can see like real snow, because you'll laugh when it snows 1/4 of an inch here, the schools will shut down.
Well, I lived in Jacksonville, North Carolina for years.
Oh, okay.
And every time it snowed, however many inches we got was how many people died. So like when they shut stuff down, it was like, just stay home. Please just stay home. Literally every time it snowed.
Terrible.
Yeah. So I was like, yes, close stuff, stay home. Don't, because nobody knows how to drive in it.
No, they really don't. It's really bad. We get a lot of ice here, which makes it very scary for driving. So that part I don't like. I don't mind the snow days because I can stay home with my kids and just work from home. Mm-hmm. But I would say I don't want to be in a blizzard though. I'm from Florida. I want to be on the beach with my bare feet in the sand. It's a stark difference.
I love the beach, but I love blizzards too. Again, as long as I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, that would be okay as long as you don't have to go anywhere. And you have, all your warm stuff and your power and running toilets and
we just fill up the bathtub because you can flush the toilet without power if you have water.
Right.
So we just fill up the bathtub if we're worried about it.
There you go. You got to do what you got to do, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so it's been nice talking to you, and I'll put links to everything below in the show notes, so
Okay,
people will
awesome.
be able to just find you with a click.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This opportunity. I really enjoyed meeting you, and we've had some giggles and worked our way through a tree falling, and
I feel like we've grown.
yes, we've grown so close. We'll be sending Christmas cards now and birthday presents. So
Absolutely.
absolutely, yes. And I want to see pictures of your kids, and I would say to people, no matter what your age, if you want to do something, go do it. I mean, as long as it's legal, go do it, right? Because it
Yeah.
needs to be legal. And because this is starting very late in my life for me, and it has taught me to embrace what I want, who I want, believe in myself, step out, take a chance on myself, and go for what I want. So I would totally support women and men doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel kind of blessed that I started at 25 instead of later, because I was told repeatedly growing up that you can't make a living as a writer. You can't,
Yeah.
and so I feel pretty blessed that I made that decision.
I'm happy for you. So, and I'm glad that you're in the work that you do, and so that those who get to work with you are very blessed by that, I'm sure.
Thank you.
So maybe you and I'll get to work together. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Yes, I'm a very hard worker. I'm very determined, and I love what I'm doing. So I feel very passionate about it. And,
Awesome.
yep. Hope that'll it'll make people laugh or cry or be happy or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
That's the dream.
Yes, absolutely. That is the dream. So I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, you too.